High-speed trains in China. First up, high-speed timeline. In 1997, China had started to make plans to make their trains faster due to the growing population. In 2007, they had accomplished their plans to make their first high-speed train ever. The first line, the Shanghai-Wuhan-Chengdu line, was finished in 2013. The difference between a train and a line is an entire company, a train is just one. 2017, several other lines and networks were created. One of the most recent tracks, the Beijing Harbin track, was finished in 2019. The July of 2019, they launched the fastest bullet train ever, which hit speeds of 400 kilometers per hour. Recently, along with the train that hits 400 kilometers per hour, before coronavirus started, China had opened their first driverless bullet train that can go 350 kilometers per hour. Next up, China's rail networks. These are just 4 of the 8 major rail networks that go vertically. The Beijing-Shanghai Passageway, the Beijing-Hong Kong-Taipei Passageway, Beijing-Hong Kong, Beijing-Harbin, Macau Passageway, Beijing-Kunming Passageway. Now here are 4 of the 8 horizontal rail networks. The Beijing-Lanzhou Passageway, the Eurasia Continental Bridge Passageway, the Yangtze River Passageway, and the Shanghai Kunming Passageway. Now, this is a map of all the times or how long it would take to get from Beijing, being its center capital city, out to the outer cities. For example, if you wanted to go from Beijing to Shanghai, it would be 4 hours because Shanghai is directly on the 4-hour circle. Now, if we wanted to go to Beijing and Wuhan, which sounds very familiar, it would be the same thing because it is in between the 4 and 3-hour marks. So Wuhan is a 4-hour ride. And the farthest reach you can go on a bullet train from Beijing would be to Urumqi, which is 12 hours, and that is the farthest reach of the Chinese rail networks. Now here's the experience on the Shanghai to Kunming Passageway ride. accidents. One of China's biggest, most major accidents was in 2011. This accident in the Wenzhou province had killed 40 people and nearly 192 people were injured. The Chinese government had believed that it was just a lightning strike to the power lines causing the train to slow, but it was actually found out later that a lightning strike to a light box or one of the boxes that switches the lights what had caused it to fritz and told the train that had rear-ended the first train that there was no one on the track. And this box was supposed to be fail-safe. So was it really? Now, how do these trains work? It's fairly simple. These trains are normal trains with modernized engines that allow them to go faster, and they are streamlined so that they can move easily without being by the air pressing on their front. But how do engines stay on the track without flying off? Well, there's something called banking. When a train is going so fast on a curve that the centrifugal, which is the center point, or when the train turns, the centrifugal is what wants to allow it to fly off the track. When the centrifugal wants to let it fly off the track, the uppermost rail of the track is higher than the bottom. So that is called banking. And when banking happens, that means that the train is tilted so that it's not able to fly off the track and that the bottom wheels and the upper wheels are going at the same rate, so that way they don't end up causing each other to derail. Now on to tickets. Ticket prices vary depending upon how long the trip is and where you are going. For example, if you were to take a train from Beijing to Shanghai, it would be possibly a 4.5-hour ride, and the cost would be $79. But if you were to go from Beijing to Guangzhou, it would be 8 hours, which raises the cost to $103. Not only does the price depend upon where you're going and how long it will take you, but it also varies by class. Let's take the 8-hour ride. Before, the price you saw, $123, was for second class or the normal seats. But first class and the business class are more expensive. First class, the seats are much nicer, and it's $197. But if you're going in the business class, it's $389. Even though business class is very expensive, it's worth it. The business class cars are usually placed in the front of or the back of the train. This car is closed by automatic doors to keep a quiet environment. The seats are very different too. The armchairs are sofa-like and covered in leather. The chairs are also able to be adjusted so you can sit straight up or be lying flat, hence the amount of legroom. Not only are they able to lean back and lean forward, but there is a foldable table in one of your armrests. Now that we've seen about business class, if you were looking cheaper, the $197, you can choose first class. The first class will look similar to the second class, but it has its upgrades. First of all, there are 4 seats in a row, allowing the seats to be bigger. There are footrests in the seats. Also, the seats have foldable tables in the armrests. If you are looking even cheaper, you can decide second class. Even though you may want the luxury of business class or first class, in China, the second class seats are set up 5 in a row. That may seem tight, but it still has its advantages. The seats can turn 180 degrees to face the seats behind them. So if you were to be riding with some friends, you could turn them around so that you're able to talk. Or you can face in the direction the train is riding. The seats also have adjustable backrests, and the armrests between the seats can fold up. On the back of the seats, there are trays that fold down for food, and on the bottom, on the sides, usually in the center aisle, there is a plug-in for you to plug in your phone, iPad,